Hey everyone, back here again with the new EP/LP mixtape album thing called 1.5 by Amine. Now Amine, he's a rapper. He kind of broke through like late 2015 with his hit song Caroline that I'm sure most people know to date, and it definitely has made its mark in rap, considering it's a very unique song with this very left field style that wasn't very present in mainstream rap, so it definitely stood out from a lot of the other popular songs at the time. But then Amine kind of took that and piggybacked off the success of it and piled up enough songs into the 2017 album Good For You, and that album was one of my highlights of the year, with several great tracks, kind of staying in that realm of how Caroline was, with dabbling a little bit in the R&B section too, but really just using some unique styling, but still had some big name features like Nelly and Ty Dolla $ign were on it. But after that album kind of ended up just coming out and had a few more semi-popular songs like Heebie Jeebies with Kalani, he kind of just disappeared off the map for a little bit. He was on Twitter, but then just kind of stopped tweeting a ton. And all of a sudden, a few days ago, on Thursday or something, he just came on Twitter and said he's dropping a new album and mixtape tonight, or that night. And sure enough, it's here, 1.5, and it's a bit different than his old stuff. He's definitely going at a different style. About how he said in his tweets prior to releasing the album that it's not really going to be like his old stuff, kind of saying that he's more flexing now, apologizing for it, but not really. And it's a bit more of an interesting take, as he's kind of showing a different side before his next actual studio album. Dr. Whoever is the opening track on the album, and it definitely has a different sound from what's to come, but it's still a very kind of lyrical wisdom track about Amine's experiences and past. And while it doesn't really match a lot from what's to come, it's still a bit more trap, it's still a bit more rappy, not as left field as his old stuff, but still does have a different, quite more personal feel than a lot of the other tracks on this mixtape. Then there's Hiccup with Gunna, and really the song, I saw it on the track list and I was kind of excited because I kind of like some Gunna feature songs, but this one really just kind of let me down. I mean, Amine doesn't really sound that interesting, really not really having anything that melodically interesting or much to say lyrically like Dr. Whoever, and Gunna's feature just comes off as kind of bland and forgettable, and I can't remember any part of it, even after several listens of the song. And as for the instrumental, it does have a bit more of an interesting instrumental, but it can grow a little old fast with it just having kind of this wave synth in the background that repeats just over and over and over, and after a few listens it just gets kind of tiring and not that interesting anymore. Then following that is kind of the flip. It's Reel It In, which is one of the most interesting tracks on the song, and this is really Amine kind of really hitting on mixing the two styles of his. It does have a bit of a melodic chorus to it, but really still maintains that kind of lyrical rap that he's kind of striving for in this project. And it definitely has a more trap beat with only really a light fluffy guitar over some pretty basic drums, and it really comes together pretty well. This song probably has my favorite line on the album too, which is really funny yet bizarre, yet it sounds pretty great in the song. It says, "She was short cute, so she really fine, just sorta weird, and she got some cake." Why is a little bit more melodic like his old stuff, but still has an instrumental like he's striving for, with a more rap trap kind of sound on this project. But it can get a little repetitive and old with him just saying why over and over again. It's kind of a somewhat longer song compared to the rest of the project. And then following that is immediately Shine, which is kind of, it pairs with Why well with the two next to each other, but in the context of the quality of it, Shine really isn't that great of a song either. The only real difference with it is it has kind of the guitar from Reel It In, but also has the more melodic idea, or the more melodic style that he just had used in Why as well. And it just kind of brings the two ideas and makes a song with both of them, but it doesn't really hit as well as Reel It In or Why for that matter. And at this point in the album, I kind of started to feel like some things were starting to seem a bit more one-dimensional, not a lot of depth to some of the songs. The first several songs of the track, since it was all just the first time kind of hearing a lot of these sounds, it was kind of, it wasn't that bad. It was a bit more of a unique experience, but once I started getting through the later and later albums with this kind of repetitive, always sounding the same bass, stuff like this where it just sounds like two of the previous songs just kind of fused together, it doesn't really make it very unique at all. Dapper Dan does bring a new sound to the table, but doesn't really emphasize on it. It's a very forgettable sound and track in general, and then G Herbo on the track really doesn't enhance it whatsoever, with a bit more interesting feature than Gunna, but still nothing that really makes me want to come back to it. It's a very black and white track where you just hear it once and you can pretty much be done with it. Cantu then comes in with a slicing bell synth thing that I would kind of expect more from like an EDM song, but it really matches well with this, and Amine really tries to capitalize and stamp in like the idea of this more just being a straight up rap track, and where he almost never sings on it, and he really comes through with this track, with it really being catchy and all this and that I would want from a track by him, but without really having much of the ideas that he's used in the past. It's kind of what he's striving for to, and with all the strength of the new stuff that he's doing, like just the rap and the lyrics and the kind of more unique beat that he isn't used to making. Sugar Parents has a bit more interesting theme to it, with it being about how Amine doesn't really want to give his money out to women to pay for him, and it's about how he's still got a lot of money because of that. And it has a melody to it, a chorus, and that is pretty catchy and pretty good. And it also has a bit more of some interesting drum sets and this kind of fade and return kind of vocal synth that is pretty unique, and I was very happy to kind of hear this, considering there wasn't something really like this on the album yet. But the real highlight of the track was when Rico Nasty comes in, and she really brings something that Amine hadn't really put into the song yet. With her kind of more soft voice, it really adds to the whole tone of the song, and then she comes in and delivers an absolutely killer verse before closing out the song, amping it up with a duet version of the chorus with Amine. Then finally, closing the album is the song Together, and this kind of matches the opening track, Dr. Whoever, where it doesn't really match many of the other songs. It doesn't have as much as a trap feel as the rest of the album, and it uses a sample by L.A. Priest from her song. I believe it's called Party Zoot / Learning to Love, and it really has a different feel from a lot of it, and the sample is actually used as the chorus. It like I said, kind of returns to that Dr. Whoever kind of style, which I do appreciate a little bit more than a lot of the other tracks on here, and it definitely is a good closer to a decent album. The album does have its highlights, but does lack something. It's a bit too one-dimensional. There isn't enough interest or change throughout the album that will make me want to come back to a lot of the songs enough. Like, there are plenty of good songs, but not really any truly great songs on here. A lot of them just sound the same, like recycled sounds that were used prior in the album or the mixtape, and that just happens kind of too often along this, and that kind of brought the experience for me down a little bit. But with that being said, that does not mean this was a bad album whatsoever, because this does have some very well executed songs. Like I said, they're not great, but it does have its highlights. Like Dr. Whoever, Reel It In, Sugar Parents, and Together are all unique songs that I really think Amine came through and executed very well. So in the end, Amine does offer some intriguing tracks, but can't really bring the whole album to that kind of same level to really make it a very interesting mixtape in the end. So I'm going to give this a 6. And so you should like and subscribe if you like the video, and check out my other videos too, and what I should check out next. And if you haven't listened to this album or Good For You either, you should go check those out, because they are good albums, especially Good For You, a very good album. So yeah, I'll talk to you next time. Bye.